Oh yeah, we're front row, and my friend saw blood coming out of his head.
Oh my God! Oh Jesus!
There he is.
Oh,
There he is. There he is. There he is.
There he is. Oh, thank God. He's walking.
He's walking. He's walking.
All right, folks, we got another breaking news video coming your way because Donald Trump just gave his first ever public speech since the assassination attempt on Saturday. Obviously, tomorrow he's going to be giving his main RNC speech on the stage, and we will all be tuned into that. But apparently today, he gave a smaller speech behind closed doors at the RNC, and video of that has been released, which we might as well react to and talk about because this is significant. I think everyone is curious to see what is going on in Trump's head right now. How is he feeling? Again, first speech ever since being shot. And so without further ado, folks, if you enjoy the content, if you want to be able to support this breaking news coverage and content like this, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new. But all right, without further ado, here is Donald Trump's first speech, at least the soundbite of it, since the assassination attempt. Take a listen.
But I got lucky. God was with me, I tell you. That's what they call a close call. That was an amazing, horrible thing, amazing thing, and in many ways it changes your attitude, your viewpoint on life. And I think, honestly, I think you appreciate God even more. I really do, because something happened.
So just something to note here, okay? And we'll expand on this in a second, but you heard Trump's first words, right? God had my back that day. I think it was somewhere along like God saved me that day. And he talked about how this really changed him as a man and how, you know, like this is a moment that makes you truly appreciate God. We'll get into that a little more in a second. But let me ask a question. Have you ever really heard Trump speak like this, especially in a way that seemed sincere or genuine? Not really, right? This is a different Donald Trump, and you have to imagine that. Like, an experience like this will fundamentally change someone's life and their viewpoint on the world. And so that's just something to keep in mind, and, you know, listen and see what happens next. And I'll bring something to the table that you may find kind of interesting, but let's not gloss over that, right? Trump doesn't usually talk this way. And you even saw him on the stage at the RNC when he was coming out and being cheered on. Something is different in his eyes right now. He looks different. He has a different expression on his face, almost in his soul. There's just a lot to unpack there. We'll talk about in a second, but here's the rest of his speech.
It wasn't like it was a complete miss, but it was pretty terrible that can happen, and it happens too often. We have things going on, just crime in our country is so bad, and things are going on with our country. We're going to fix it. We're going to make it.
Yes.
We're going to bring it back. We're going to get rid of the criminals. There's so many people coming in. It's so sad when they come in from the prisons, you know, the South American countries. And by the way, this is coming from all over the world. The people are coming from. It's a problem I talk about. To me, it's the border. It's so big. In 2016, it was the border, and we fixed it. And I kept saying, like, well, let's talk about it for 2020. The people said, all my geniuses said, oh, we can't talk about that. You've already fixed it. I said, I want to talk about the border. I fixed it. Nobody's interested. The fact is, in 2016, we had a really bad border, but it was a tiny fraction of what it is now. What it was in 2016, we'll take it right now. It was much better. And I fixed it easily. We built hundreds of miles of wall. That wall, without the wall, you would be 10 times worse off than you are right now, if that's possible. And I'm not sure it's possible because people are flowing in by the millions and millions. I think it's going to be 20 million by the time we get this guy out. We have to get him out. If we don't get him out, we're not going to have a country. We're really not going to have a country. So bad.
So you heard obviously kind of the second half of that speech is mostly campaign talk. And I think, you know, in some ways, Donald Trump doesn't want to make the entire situation or the entire RNC about himself, right? There's still an election to win. There are still issues to talk about. And so he mentions it, but then he kind of selflessly turns and says, all right, but the big issue here is the country. But let's talk about this honestly for a second, because I really debated on whether or not to even bring this up. I know to some people it may seem kind of schizophrenic. Some people will totally agree with me. But let me just say it, outright, that I'm a believer in Jesus Christ, and I believe that for whatever reason, right? I don't know the reason. I don't know the ways that God operates, obviously, all the time. But I strongly believe that the divine saved Trump's life on Saturday, right? God turned his head, whatever happened, like God spared Donald Trump that day, okay? And I think a lot of people believe that. But I do want to point out this, because I did bring up, you notice that now all of a sudden Trump is speaking about God in ways you never really heard him say before, right? And, there's something different in his eyes, and it's not surprising. That type of experience does change a man. But I want to bring something very interesting to the table that, again, I may be accused of being schizophrenic or a conspiracy theorist for, but again, I believe God is real. I believe that, prophets, as they are mentioned in the Bible, are still real, and they do happen. They do exist sometimes in the modern day, not all the time. You shouldn't believe everyone you see, obviously, but this is very interesting. So there's a video on YouTube from 3 months ago, and I'm not making this up. You can go check it out yourself. This video is called literally like 3 Prophets Explain 3 American Solar Eclipses, April 8th sign, Amanda Grace. Like, just type all these words into your keyboard if you don't believe me. But this guy, and I verified this myself. I went on YouTube to check this myself. This video is from 3 months ago, and it exactly predicted Donald Trump's, this guy right here you see on the screen, he exactly predicted the assassination attempt against Trump, how it would happen in full detail, including the bullet sparing him but whizzing past his ear. Again, this was 3 months ago. This was before it happened. This guy claimed to be a prophet. And just take a listen to some of the things he says would come next after that. And I think when you pay attention and notice how Trump seems to have a different demeanor about himself, maybe some things to consider. So take a listen.
America all throughout, and I saw Trump rising up, and then I saw an attempt on his life. This bullet flew by his ear, and it came so close to his head that it busted his eardrum. And I saw he fell to his knees during this time frame.
So obviously, just to be clear, okay, the editing here, this is like a montage done over it, but you can go check the original video. Again, I'll try to link it in the description or something, so people are not like, you're making this up. No, this is real, okay? This is edited over, obviously, so it's like lining up the prophecy with the actual video itself. But here you go.
Eardrum. And it came so close to his head that it busted his eardrum. And I saw he fell to his knees during this time frame, and he started worshiping the Lord. He got radically born again during this time frame. I'm talking, people say he's saved now, but he becomes really on fire for Jesus, for what I saw coming. And then I saw people interceding when I saw him winning the presidency. Through great, the Lord showed me it would go clear into the summer. Great persecution would come on him through the judges and through the law and all these people trying to sue him and all this stuff. But there would be a stop to it, and things would start to break free come toward the fall. And then I saw him winning the election through the Patriots coming out and voting. And
so, look, all right. I'm not one of these schizophrenics, as much as people want to say, who's like, oh, look, this guy on Facebook is predicting this solar eclipse means that or whatever, okay? I don't usually believe videos like this, to be clear, okay? There's a lot of false prophets out there. But this is undeniable that at the very least, some type of divine revelation must have happened, because at the very least, again, 3 months ago, this guy right here accurately predicted the Trump assassination attempt and the exact sequence of how it would happen. It would scrape his ear, but it would spare him, and he would fall to his knees. And what he says next there is very interesting, okay? And again, this part, still speculation. We still need to vet this. We still need to see what happens. But according to him, in that moment, it's like Trump almost becomes a true believer, right? Trump becomes, in his words, on fire for Jesus. And you see him now, like, he has a different demeanor about himself. He is speaking about God in ways you never really heard Trump speak before. I don't know. And then, of course, you have the other thing he predicts that, obviously Trump wins this election in a landslide, which, obviously, like you could just predict that, hey, you think Trump's going to win, but just very interesting stuff to consider, folks, is all I'm going to say on that note. Hopefully people don't think I'm crazy after this, okay? But again, to reemphasize one more time, I'm going to link it in the description. This is a real video from 3 months ago on YouTube. Okay, this is not a deep fake. This is not someone who made that after. I checked this myself. This was real from 3 months ago. So, yeah, prophecy is real. Divine revelation is real. I don't know what else to say, okay? I don't know how the atheist really explains, something like that, right? It was just a coincidence. He just happened to predict that an assassination attempt would happen during the summertime where it would fly past his ear. That's just Charles Darwin, bro. I don't know. That said, I guess, pray for President Trump, pray for this country, because, crazy things are at work, I guess, to say the least. With that said, folks, let me know your thoughts. Be sure to leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you are new. And until next time, God bless. Let me say that extra hard this time. God bless and peace.